morning. It's getting cold out here. We went from 24 last week to 13 today. And it got me thinking this morning about, oh my goodness, pretty soon I won't be walking outside. What am I going to do differently? Which poses the big question. How do you handle a situation when it's no longer working for you? Or if it's working for you and you can see something ahead is going to be changing, how do you pivot? How does one pivot? And it got me thinking about this summer, and I thought I would share one of my experiences from my vast catalog of experiences about maybe giving you a little bit of insight in how I handled a situation, and through sharing it with you, it'll open you up to other options or other ways of looking at something that will help you too. So this summer, my husband and I had planned on going camping for 3 weeks. You know, we live in Europe, so you get 6 weeks of vacation every year. So we had planned to go camping, and I love camping. Oh my God. Camping is so calming, and it's so connected. And I can tell you, after 2 or 3 days of getting in and out of a tent, it helps you reevaluate how your body functions. And we were getting ready to go a week before, and I stepped on a huge piece of glass on my heel, and we couldn't go anywhere because you gotta walk. So over the course of the summer, it was maybe 7 weeks, because I removed the piece of glass and then I basically walked on a tiptoe like I was on a high heel on one foot for 7 weeks. And after a month, the hole was almost closed. And then there was a chunk of glass that after 4 weeks, I felt it and said, oh my God, there's another piece of glass here. So I had to go to the clinic, to the doctor's office, for it to be removed. And then it closed up very quickly. And after 7 weeks, I'm out, walking, and everything is good with the universe. However, I have this, as Tony Robbins would say, hour of power, right? I love to go out in the morning and get my exercise and, do my prayers and contemplate how I'm going to live the day, and, think about a little time for introspection. And what I learned during those 7 weeks is I was like, oh my gosh, that's 7 weeks that I'm not going to be walking every morning. How am I going to get my exercise? How am I going to get those EBGBs out every day? So then I had to think about it and be realistic about what I can do and what I can't do, and then pivot to make a little plan. So I just pulled out my hand weights and did floor exercises for 7 weeks. And that's how I was able to pivot and do my exercise, which gets me thinking about, I can go this way, which gets me thinking about now. The temperature has changed. Oh my goodness, it's so cold. I will switch to wool, and then I can do that for another 2 months. And then there's no way I'm going to come out here and walk. It's too freaking cold. So then what do I do differently? So I'm a member of a gym, and I also have, 2 tapes, right? Let me just show how old I am. 2 exercise tapes. They're actually on YouTube now, so I just watch them on YouTube. And that's how I'm able to pivot into continuing to do what I enjoy doing, that helps me to feel good about myself, helps me to feel good about how I feel within my body. It definitely helps me clear, helps me to be thinking more clearly and being able to process more information. I've also recognized in the decades that I've been walking that if I don't walk for a couple of weeks, I can be a raging person, because you get all this built up angst And by walking, it's another way of releasing that. So I'm already starting to think ahead because I know that the temperature is going to change in a couple of months because of my experience. And I want to keep doing what I'm doing, but the objective is I must pivot and change. So I will go by doing exercise inside the house. So it got me thinking about life. How many experiences, or what are you going through right now that has you thinking, oh my gosh, this isn't working? And I enjoy many aspects of this thing that I'm doing, whether it's in a relationship or whether you're employed or whether you're dealing with family dynamics, and other parts aren't working. So the question is it something that has to do with you, or is it something that has to do with another person? You know, you can't get away from people at work, but you can definitely, if it's something that they're doing to you, you assess yourself and go, am I expressing my wants and needs and desires in this situation? Am I stating a clear boundary? It's with a relationship, the dynamics of our spouses are changing. So then you think about, this is changing for the better or for the worse. If it's changing for the worse, like for example, the 3 pillars in feminine spaces are self-mastery, which has to do with understanding yourself, has to do with relationship wisdom, whether it's with your spouse or whether it's a family member or a colleague. It's recognizing what are the points that are working and not working, and what can you do to improve it for yourself, not for that other person, but for yourself. Because, you know, I say it here often, the only person you have complete control over is yourself. So that's the one you must master. And then, of course, it's conscious living, right? And all those things are intertwined. And all 3 of those things help propel you forward, not only in how you show up for yourself, but also in how you show up in all your relationships. So when you're out here living your most magical life, take a quick inventory of what's going on, what's working, what's not working. Is there something you want to improve upon? Because most things in life, it really is about gaining a skill, cultivating it, practicing it, and applying it to the best of your abilities. And with practice, you get better and better. So this morning, as I went out, and it was 13 degrees, and I know that tomorrow I will put on wool to go for a walk, and in a couple of weeks I won't be walking anymore because it'll be too cold, and then I pivot to working out inside, so that I can still attain the benefits that I get from exercise every morning by having a clear mind and getting all my energy BGBs out and continuing to live the most magical life to the best of my abilities. So I trust that this little experience that I shared with you out of my catalog of experiences, that you gain wisdom from it, because you can either see yourself in myself, or perhaps you haven't gone through it yet and you're starting to experience life more fully as you get older, and you can say, ooh, maybe it's not the walking and exercise, but I can see how I can apply that skill set to something else in my life. Or it could be something you've already gone through it and you can see yourself and you're like, girl, I remember when I went through that and I did about the same thing. So we're walking in tandem. And that is it. Feminine Spaces. That was my share for the morning. Enjoy your magnificent life. We'll talk soon. Pussily Puss.